Hello and welcome to this lecture on marketing management. The topic that we are going to discuss in this lecture is stages in consumer decision making process. Before I start the lecture, let us discuss about the decision making process of the consumer. As there are various types of goods and services available in the market and the consumer purchases various goods and services to satisfy the needs, there is a process which is involved in this decision making. So, we are going to discuss the various steps which are involved in this decision making process, and then through examples we would like to understand these steps one by one. Let me take you through the slides and let us discuss these steps in detail. So, let me change the slide. So, what is the consumer decision making process? So, here there is a very simple model of decision making given, and this very simple model of decision making is called IDA model. So, let me just read out the terms which are written here. This attention is the A, interest is I, desire is D, and then action is A. Hence, it is called the IDA model. The IDA model says that in order to induce a customer for purchasing a product or a service, what is very important is that first of all, the attention of that consumer or that customer is gained, because if the customer will not pay attention to the product or the service, then without attention the consumer will never purchase the product and service. So, it is very important for the marketer or the seller to gain the attention of the consumer. In order to gain the attention of the consumer, a lot of marketer offers discount. There are a lot of promotions which are done, there are a lot of advertisements which are done in order to gain the attention of the consumer, because if no attention, then there will be no purchase. Now, the next step is interest. So, once the marketer or the seller has gained the attention of the consumer, it is important that the marketer arises some kind of interest regarding the product or service in that consumer. By giving the consumer the knowledge of the features of the products and service, the interest can be aroused. So, when the consumer or the person who is going to buy the product comes to know about various features, then he compares as to how these features are different from the features of the products of the competitors, and this further aggregates the interest, and hence the second step gets completed. From interest we go to desire. This interest level should be followed by the desire level, in which there should be a kind of desire. If the marketer wants that particular consumer to buy the product, then it is important to convert the interest into desire. Now, desire is the stage in which the consumer becomes determined to buy the product, and there is a strong feeling inside the consumer that I should buy the product, and that this product or this service should be owned by me. So, when this kind of a feeling gets arised in the mind of the consumer, then this is called the desire phase. And after the desire phase, the last, that is action phase, is followed, and the action phase is the phase in which the consumer purchases the product or the service, or the consumer gives the money to the seller, and in return the consumer gets the product or the experience of the service. So, therefore, to conclude, I should say that IDA model is a very simple selling model, is a very simple model of decision making, in which a consumer basically passes through 4 phases: attention, then interest, then desire, and finally action, in which the person finally decides to purchase the product. Now, there is a simple model of consumer decision making which is shown here. In the first block, we can see that there are certain external influences, while in the middle block the consumer is making the decision regarding the purchase of product or the service, while The third block is the post purchase behavior, or the behavior of the person after the product is purchased and after he or she has used it. So, this block is called the input, because this is the block where the customer receives the input for purchase. This block is called the process block, because the various steps that the consumer takes in order to purchase the product, the various decision making steps are performed here. And the last block is called the output block. The output block is related with the outcome of the purchase. The output block is nothing but it is the result of the purchase, and the result of the purchase can either be satisfaction or it can be dissatisfaction. Now, let me elaborate the external influences first. The external influences are of two kinds. There is an influence which is coming from the company's marketing efforts, and there is an external influence that comes from the socio-cultural environment. So, on one hand there is an socio-cultural environment of the consumer which is all around the consumer. So, that socio-cultural environment is putting an influence on the consumer, as well as the company or the organization that is selling the product or the service. That company or that organization also makes a lot of effort, and that efforts or those external influences also make an impact on the consumer's decisions. So, the firm's marketing efforts can be elaborated as the product, promotion, price and channels of distribution. So, these are nothing but 4 P's, or the marketing mix. So, a company through its marketing mix tries to influence the consumer's decision making process, while the factors in the socio-cultural environment, which are the family, informational sources, other non-commercial sources, social class, and last but not the least, culture and subculture. So, all these factors also play their role in influencing the consumer's decision making process. So, together the firm's marketing efforts and socio-cultural environment together, they make the complete input, and these are the collection of the factors that will impact the decision making process, the consumer's purchase decision making process. Now, let us talk about the process itself. What are the steps involved in consumer's purchase process? The first step that is involved here is need recognition. Need recognition is the first step, because if there is no need which is recognized to buy a particular product or service, the customer will never buy it. So, a customer will purchase a product or a service only when the customer will feel a need to do so. For example, if I do not have a laptop and I feel a need for computing, only then I will think about purchasing a computer. Or if some other person is not having a vehicle and the person is facing a problem in commuting from one place to the other, only then there will be a need felt, and when there is a need that is felt, only then the consumer or that person starts thinking about purchasing the product or the service. So, need recognition is the first step. Need recognition is followed by the second step, which is pre-purchase search. So, pre-purchase search is also known as information search, or I am writing it as info search. Because a product is now required and the need to buy that product has been felt, now the consumer will visit various sources and the consumer will try to gather knowledge and information about the product. The information and the knowledge about the product will be gathered by the consumer on a wider scale if the product happens to be an expensive product. So, the pre-purchase search can be of 2 or 3 types. This pre-purchase search can be extensive or it can be limited. the pre-purchase search can be extensive or limited. It will be extensive when the consumer is buying an expensive product. For example, when a consumer is buying a product such as a home or a laptop or an expensive car or an expensive mobile phone, then the consumer will make an extensive pre-purchase search. The consumer will visit various sources. The consumer will take into account the opinions of various people. The consumer will go to the vendor and also ask for the vendor's opinion. He will ask his friends. He will consult the web sources. He or she will consult the magazines, the newspapers, and etc. etc. So, because the product involved here is an expensive one, so therefore, extensive search is taking place, while limited search is taking place for products which are not so expensive. So, suppose any consumer has to purchase a product such as a pen or a shirt or something like that, then the pre-purchase search will be limited one, because the product is not that expensive. So, this becomes the second step of the process, that is pre-purchase search or information search. Now, in the process of information search, it often happens that the consumer collects a lot of information, and that lot of information is of various products falling into that category, various brands, various features of those products and the prices and their usage, the guarantee, warranty, etc. So, a lot of information about a lot of substitute products is gathered. When a lot of information about a lot of substitute products is gathered and the consumer has to select among them just a couple of products or one product, then those alternatives are then evaluated. So, this plethora of information which the consumer have, now the consumers have to filter out the information, or they have to compare the features of the various types of substitute products that the information they have gathered. So, this is the third step, and the third step of consumer decision process involves evaluation of alternatives. So, after need recognition, the second step was pre-purchase search, and a lot of information was gathered in the pre-purchase search. So, now that information is being processed and evaluation of alternatives is happening. So, as a result of this evaluation of alternatives, the consumer will finally conclude the brand or the product that he or she has to purchase, and after evaluation of alternatives, the purchase decision would be taking place. So, from here we move to the purchase decision, and that purchase decision finally, finally after that purchase decision, the consumer will have some experience of the product. So, this experience of the product will come after the purchase is made, and there will be some post purchase behavior. So, the purchase will be followed by trial, repeated purchases, and then their post purchase evaluation will be happening. So, means to say that after evaluation of alternatives, the next step would be to purchase the product or to have a trial, and after the trial, that particular product or the service will be purchased by that consumer, and once the product or the service is purchased by the consumer will use it, and once the consumer uses it, it will have some feeling of satisfaction or dissatisfaction depending on whether the product or the service was able to satisfy it or not. So, if the particular product or service was able to satisfy the individual, he will have a feeling of satisfaction, otherwise that consumer will have a feeling of dissatisfaction. From here, I will again summarize the various steps involved in the consumer decision making process. So, these were the various steps. First step was problem recognition. In problem recognition, the consumer recognizes that yes, there is a need to purchase a product or a service. The second step is information search, or which we called as pre-purchase search, pre-purchase info gathering we can also call it. So, a lot of information is collected from various sources, And because a lot of information is collected from various sources, there is evaluation of alternative. So, this step involves a lot of comparison and filtering of information. This step is then followed by the purchase decision, and purchase decision is where the action happens, where the consumer pays the money and acquires the product or acquires the experience of the service. And then the post purchase behavior happens, and here there can be either satisfaction or dissatisfaction depending on whether the product was up to the taste of the consumer or whether the product falls below the taste of the consumer. Now, we talk about each and every step into detail. So, we talk about the problem recognition. Problem recognition means identify the need to purchase. So, first of all, we have to recognize or identify the need to purchase. What can be purchased? So, it can be a product or a service, because we know that the needs of a consumer are fulfilled by either a product or a service. So, these are the two utility items which can fulfill the need of a customer. And then of course, there is a need of identification is the first step in purchase process. So, that is the first step. From here we move on to the information search. Information search can be done through various online sources. Online sources are mostly the websites or various portals. This can be done through newspapers. So, a lot of information is published in the newspaper and the consumers can pick up that information from the newspaper. Various catalogs. Now, the catalogs are also available on the internet. So, these are called e-catalogs, or there can be physical catalogs, or there can be menus from where the information can be obtained. Information about a product or a service can also be obtained from magazines. So, there can be business magazines and there can be general magazines from where the information can be gathered. Information can be gathered consulting a various people. Now, what all people can be consulted? Vendors can be consulted, friends can be consulted, experts can be consulted. So, likewise, a lot of people can be consulted regarding the usage of the product. So, this is how information about the product or the service can be obtained. After the information gathering, the next step that the person moves on to is evaluation of alternatives. In the evaluation of alternatives phase, the alternatives or the various brands are compared, and these are compared on the basis of price, which also means that it can be compared on the basis of the percentage discount being offered. The brands or the products can be compared on the basis of features. Suppose if we talk about mobile phones, so if we have gathered information about 7 types of mobile phones, then we can compare this information on the basis of features as to which mobile phone is having a wider screen, or which mobile phone battery is having a longer durability, or which mobile phone is giving us a greater warranty, and which mobile phone is lesser in price. The performance can also be a criteria for the evaluation of the alternative. So, while we are purchasing some automobile, so in case of automobile, we always take into account something called as a mileage. So, mileage actually denotes the performance of the automobile. So, when we are talking about automobile, we can measure, we can compare the performance of the automobile through the mileage, and whichever automobile has got the higher mileage will then be preferred by the consumers for purchase. Then in certain criterias, in case of certain products, durability is the criteria. For example, in case of batteries, the consumers can compare various types of batteries depending on the durability or how long the battery is going to last. Last but not the least, one of the criterias to evaluate the alternatives can be the guarantee or the warranty which is being offered. So, any vendor which is giving us a higher guarantee or a higher warranty in comparison to the other vendor will be preferred by the consumer, because the consumer is getting a better guarantee or warranty, and therefore, the deal would be very attractive. So, these are the various criteria on the basis of which the alternatives can be evaluated. After the evaluation of alternatives, the consumer has to make purchase decisions. Now, purchase decisions can be done in various ways. First of all, let us discuss what purchase decisions are. So, purchase decision is actually an action oriented decision, and in this action oriented decision, the consumer has to make the payment, and then if it is a product such as a pen, then the consumer becomes the owner of the product, and if it is a service, then the consumer becomes the owner of the experience of a service. For example, if we purchase the ticket to a cinema and if we reach the cinema on time, then we are given the entry inside the cinema theatre, and when we sit in the cinema theatre, we watch the movie and we come back home with an experience. So, because that is a service. So, for in case of a service, we are entitled to take the experience of the service by paying for the service, while in case of a product, by paying for a product, we are entitled complete ownership of the product. So, therefore, a purchase decision is, if it is being made for a product, it means that the consumer will become the owner of the product, and if the purchase decision is being made for a service, then the consumer will become the owner of the experience of that service by making the payment for that product or service, and that payment can be made by various means. So, today it is the digital era, and purchase decision or the payment can be made online by using various UPI apps, or it can be done through the ATM or debit cards, it can be done through credit cards, it can be done in cash, it can be done by using instruments such as check or demand draft, or cash also means cash on delivery, which is written in a separate point. So, these are the following ways in which online payment can be done. We'll cut out cash and COD here, we'll cut out check and DD. Online payment can be done through UPI apps, debit cards and credit cards. Then physical payment in a shop. Physical payment in a shop can be done through cash or by using check or by using UPI or by using a demand draft. Cash on delivery. Cash on delivery is a system in which the product is purchased by the consumer when it arrives at the doorsteps. So, the consumer orders the product on phone. After doing all the other steps, after doing all the alternatives, comparison, etc., the consumer then makes the final call and the consumer orders the product, and when the product reaches the doorsteps of the consumer, at that time the consumer makes a cash payment. So, that is the system of cash on delivery, and of course, check and demand draft options are also available in case of high value purchases. Customers prefer to use check and demand draft, such as purchasing a home or purchasing a car. So, this is the step in which purchase decision is taken, and purchase decision is incomplete without making payments, and payments can be made in the following manner in the steps which are enumerated here. After the purchase decision, there is a post purchase behavior that the consumer displays. This post purchase behavior is the behavior that the consumer displays after the product or the service is being used. So, the post purchase behavior can be a behavior of satisfaction, or it can also go beyond satisfaction. It can be a behavior of delight or happiness. So, satisfaction, delight and happiness can come for various reasons. If the consumer is of the view that the product that the consumer has brought has he or she has brought the consumer at a very less price, the product at a very less price, then this can also cause satisfaction. if after the purchase of the product or the service, if the other people are appreciating the consumer for his or her choice, then this can also result into satisfaction. If the consumer's perceived value is more than the desired value, means if there was certain desired value for that product or service, but the perceived value is greater than desired value, then this can also result into a lot of satisfaction. Or in general, if the consumer is satisfied about his purchase, if the consumer is utilizing the product completely, then this can also bring in satisfaction. So, thus we see that satisfaction can be caused by many factors. On the same lines, we can talk about dissatisfaction also. After the purchase of the product or the service, a consumer can feel dissatisfied. Now, there can be a feeling of unhappiness. There can be a feeling of the product not being utilized. There can be a feeling of the product being overpriced, or the consumer might think that I have paid more than what the price should have been. Then all these factors can lead to dissatisfaction. Apart from this, what also can lead to dissatisfaction is, suppose the consumer has purchased a product and that product or the choice of the consumer is then being criticized by the others, or if somebody has come and said that, oh, you have brought a wrong product and you must have purchased something else, or this product is very costly and a similar product was available at a lesser price. So, all these kinds of opinions and criticism can also bring in a lot of dissatisfaction to the consumer. Apart from this, there can be a feeling of dissonance. Now, let me just read out these lines and then try to explain it to you. Post purchase dissonance occurs when the product is not up to one's expectations. So, when the product and service is not up to one's expectations, dissonance can occur and does not match with the need. This arouses anxiety and dissatisfaction with the product. So, dissonance is another type of post purchase behavior in which the customer feels that the product or the service that has been brought is not matching his or her needs or is not falling up to the expectation. So, then it arises a feeling of anxiety and dissatisfaction, and this brings a lot of unhappiness to the consumer. So, thus we see that in the post purchase behavior, a product can bring in satisfaction, a product can bring in dissatisfaction as well as a lot of dissonance. Of course, what is desired is that after purchasing the product, the purchase should result into satisfaction, and therefore, I would like to add here something, that it is the responsibility of the marketer to always take into account as to how the customer is feeling apart after that purchase. So, it is the duty of the marketer, and the marketer should never make the mistake of leaving the customer alone after the purchase is made. So, after the purchase is made, either for a product or for a service, the marketer should also confirm how the customer is feeling, whether he is satisfied or whether he is dissatisfied. And if the customer is dissatisfied, the marketer should always try to convert or to discuss the reason of dissatisfaction, so as to convert that dissatisfaction into satisfaction if at all it is possible. Because a marketer would always like to retain customer and make customer a loyal customer. So, in order to make that happen, it is very much desirable for the marketer to convert the dissatisfaction into satisfaction, and that can be only done when the marketer takes a feedback from the customer as to what he is feeling. Now, before I end the lecture, I would just once like to recall the various steps which are involved in the consumer decision making process. The first step was problem recognition, in which a need was felt to purchase a particular product, which was followed by information search, in which the consumer consulted various sources to gather information. That information was evaluated on the basis of various criterias, in order to filter out and then retain only the brands which the consumer feels most suitable. The evaluation of alternatives was followed by purchase decision. So, purchase decision was the step at which the action was taking place and the consumer was paying money for the particular product, and this purchase decision was then followed by a post purchase behavior. The post purchase behavior was either satisfaction or dissatisfaction on account of various reasons, with an addition that the marketer should always try to convert the dissatisfaction of the consumer into satisfaction by talking to the consumer and by taking from the consumer a feedback of the purchase. With this, I come to the end of this lecture on the consumer decision making process. My email ID is ashish.awasthi@imsec.ac.in. Write to me in case of any doubt. I would like to be more than happy to reply to you. Thank you so much.